Hey guys, Jason Cardamone here, and I have something to share with you here around a building strategy that is extremely counterintuitive, that has been flipping things around and creating this enormous momentum in the network marketing direct sales industry. And this came out of a conversation earlier today, and we're calling this the Icicle building strategy. Now, this is version 1.0. This is not the only way to do things. We've found multiple amazing ways to generate a lot of momentum and make a lot of people a lot of money. And as we go through this, I'm going to describe even more of that. What I do want to share with you is that there is an enormous amount of wisdom behind this, of math degrees, guys with computer science degrees, and fellow friends that love compensation plans like Mike Klingler, Jeremy James. There's countless hours of discussion behind what I'm sharing with you here. And so again, I call this 1.0 because this is not the only way to do things, but it's extremely effective and it's completely counterintuitive. If you've been around the industry and compensation plans, the longer you've been in this industry, like I've been in 14 years, this took me quite some time to adapt to. But then we saw some experiences that proved this absolutely works like fire and it helps a lot of people. And I don't mean the people at the top. I mean entire genealogy trees of people. It's like what all of us leaders have always dreamed of. Actually, your team's having some success. So here's what it is. Now that you've put suspend your disbelief, suspend your old models of comp plans just for a moment here. So I want you to think of Icicleites. So the whole base of this strategy, it works exactly like an Icicle. Now, not necessarily a whole bunch of strings of these lights, but I wanted you to get this image in your mind because we've all seen these. These are actually called curtain lights. I am a semi-professional computer or a light animator. So I make lights dance to music. You've seen like the Budweiser commercial, those things. That's one of my big passions. And so among 14-year vet in the industry. So here's what I want you to really think about. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit on our Icicle building strategy. And now here's traditional thinking. You are at the top, right? And we have these lines of sponsorship, right? That, you put some people in, and all of these are personally enrolled members that we put in all the way across, right? And some of us have put thousands over our career. Some of us have put dozens, and some of those are, industry giants. We know what we're sharing with you right now works to some degree because we have company owners, some of the biggest legends ever in our 80-year history of this industry. They are in here with us building. We have 7, 8-figure earners. Literally, I can't even fathom how many. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening. And so I just want to share with you, it's not just some guys with some math and a little experience in the industry. There's something really special happening here. So I encourage you to keep a really open mind here. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to zoom into this. We're going to look at something just like this. You see what I tried to highlight over here? Just a single line of sponsorship. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I attempted to do right here. Okay. One single strand of lights going down. And this is what I want you thinking about. And here is a strategy that's working extremely well. And again, this isn't the end all be all. We have found many, many ways that this is working very well. We also have an immense amount of innovation, tech, and heart behind driving what's this. And it's a big part of why all these people from all around the industry are flocking. And we're talking about a matter of weeks. This isn't we've been doing this for a decade. I think the foundation of this started 23 to 25 days ago. I've personally only been doing this. This is day 10 for me. Now, granted, I'm a pretty hard worker, and I can outwork most humans on planet Earth in a 24-hour day. But with that said, I've never seen anything like this in 10 days, barely in 10 months, much less 10 days. It's absolutely incredible. This is no claims or anything. There's just something extraordinary happening. So here's the base of the strategy, is that when we come in and build, we encourage, and what we found to be true is that it's better to start building just one single line of sponsorship. And, at the heart of this is this team build. But what we've done is streamline this team build into, maybe you have a huge email list, a big major influencer. Maybe you can support 2 lines, maybe even 3 lines. But I can share with you some people with enormous email lists and influence that started with 3, they regret it. And they wish they would have just done at least 1, ideally, and get it really caught on, catching on fire, then starting a second one. But I think it's feasible, especially for anyone with experience. Start with 2. Now here's what I'm going to do. Oops. I don't think we should even talk about through whatsoever. That's a late. There's multiple of these videos you'll be receiving. That's a later conversation. So I want you to imagine 2 lines of sponsorship going down. All you do is personally sponsor 2 people, and it's the circles right there. Now, you don't even have to necessarily be the sponsor of them, because we're doing a team build. If we were to zoom out a little bit, there's actually people above you that may be raining things down from above, so to say. So imagine there's this giant line up above. You may not even have placed these. Imagine you're in a big line of people, right? And there's other leaders above you and other just people above you. And they may place these 2 people before you've even done anything. Again, not a guarantee, not an income claim, but we're building relatively 1, 2 lines, big, strong power lines, almost like a binary compensation plan. But it's completely crazy. When I share with you the rest of this, you're going to be like, are you kidding me? This is crazy. So you see how these little lights come off to the sides? In general, if you were to look at your whole genealogy coming down, I want you to imagine that there's all these represent people coming in, payments coming in. And we'll share with you some other videos about people and payments and things. But I want you to notice, and it's kind of tricky with the amount of space we have here. But do you see how this light's kind of going out to the side here? And this one's kind of going out here, but there is no base of a light here. There's no base here, no base here. But then right here, here's another base kind of going out. No base, no base. Here's a base. And it doesn't matter if there's 2 empty spots or 5 or 10 in the middle. There's all kinds of ramifications of all of this. But I just want you to imagine some of these lines kind of sprinkling off to the side, exactly like icicle lights. So when you look down, here's what we've seen in teams that have gone made an extreme amount of money very, very quickly, even some who have just introduced a very low number of people. What we've seen to be in wild success is that you build a straight line down in general, and every time you see somebody that starts to show potential, they're putting a bunch of people in, they're more ambitious, more hardworking, you start to help them build their second leg coming off, kind of like this. So if we go up above, if they saw, pretend you here as, wow, you has a lot of potential, looks like they're doing a lot. Maybe we'll try popping someone down their second spot here, because we already have a line of 50 people going straight down here. Now, this doesn't make a lot of sense if you think of it through traditional, what we've learned in the industry, and it's why we call it a team build. So this is an Icicle Light team build strategy is what I should title this. And so what if they start a new line here with a couple people and just kind of see what you do? And now if you're this person, this is you, your choices to start building are to build some more momentum down the gigantic power leg here, and also start to build some new lanes over here. Now, if you just stay focused on, let's say, 1 or 2 lanes and not any other things hanging off to the side, what would happen is that if you were to bring in, let's say, 50 people or a person a day, there's only a couple spots to put them in, right? Here at the very bottom, or maybe some of these little side strings starting to come off exactly like an Icicle Light. So, and whether they're on the left or right, it's really arbitrary. There is no left or right. It's just 2 strings hanging down and 1 giant power line driving very, very, very deep. Now, this is the base of a strategy that we've seen working very well. And there are a lot of variations, and there's a lot of fun to have with this. And what's really cool is that as people are coming in, what essentially happens is that I'm trying to find the words without making income claims and guarantees, is we've seen people get back what they've come in with, and potentially, and in many cases even, have the profits to keep climbing up this thing, or even to pull some profit, or at least the initial, their initial obligation, or their what they came to the table with, they can pull that out or keep leveling up to new levels. So that's the base of it. Now I want you to also, I'm going to step a little further here. When you start getting these little legs coming off to the side, let's count how many places we have to build now if you're you up above. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then your second leg here, 7. So there's 7 spots now. That's all our responsibility, right? So now we start to get diluted. Even if I was bringing in, let's say 21 people a month. And if I just equally distribute them, that would only be 3 people down each of these legs. And that's hard to catch some momentum. And here's where it gets very almost counterintuitive. If you place leaders below leaders, people that have they've built things before, they have a good potential, they just have a lot of ambition, what starts to happen is they start building these lines with you to where eventually the lines are taking off, and you can put more focus on just 1 line on the side and rinse and repeat what we're seeing on this first, spike, the power line, the first icicle going down. And it's really counterintuitive because yes, you can open up a new pay line and it will generate a whole bunch of new fresh payments coming in. But it's kind of like it's the metaphor of the pig gets fat, the hog gets slaughtered. And so, what we've seen in this exact compensation plan, some people, traditional network marketers, they might open 100 wide here. That would be like, and I'm not saying what anybody's done in the past. This is just how what we've done in compensation plans. But there's never been a comp plan that's facilitated what we're doing here. So we had to build wide and based on your plan, binaries, unilevels, matrices, everything else, breakaways. And so what this does is facilitate massive laser focus. And let me grab another color and demonstrate. Pretend like I need something to stick out. We're going to do this green and we're going to do these circles. I want you to pretend like everywhere the green circles I'm drawing, where's the fill in? There, these green circles, I want you to pretend like these are influencers that are popping. Now, I know they kind of look evenly spaced out. You may have like that, and they may be like way down than someone else. There can be big spaces in here. But just to go along with our light metaphor, everywhere where a light connects to the bass string, so remember back where we started here, everywhere where a light connects to the bass string, that right here, imagine that each of those is an influencer, a leader, someone who can like make more things happen than the average person, so to say. That's really where you start to see these spikes growing out. And so that's what I'm attempting to demonstrate to you here. So you start to have these leaders. Now, if leader number, let me grab my red again. If leader number 1 up here and let's say this leader number 2 right here, or maybe I can draw right on them. Nope, won't let, it's hidden behind. Leader 3, leader 4, leader 5, let's say right here. What if we were to keep stacking leaders down below in a line? And again, this isn't the only strategy, but this has created amazing results, and it's completely counterintuitive. When you're talking to people that are leaders, or they just naturally develop down the line, imagine what happens down here below leader number 6 when they have the complete laser-like focus of you, potential leaders up above you, pouring in, plus leader 1, leader 2, 3, 4, and 5, and everybody together hyper focused down under number 6. What happens is a lot of payments cycle to number 6 really quickly. And so, and then it's rinse and repeat all the way down. And then I'm going to share just some random ideas, because again, this is more to open a conversation and to get you to think of things in a different way, because this is absolutely working. We have proof. We clearly have proof from the caliber of people that's coming in. And so, I'm not going to drop a bunch of names and share things, but I can tell you I came to this thing with crossed arms, and I was on a Zoom call. It was only, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 days ago. And I was on with some just legends with somebody else. And I was like, this is, and I was kind of like the just support in the background. I wasn't leading this conversation. And it made me realize, these people that have really high integrity, long-term reputations in this industry of just rock solid, and they're here, and they're not coming here to just like, grab a bunch of money from people. They really, truly love, their heart is to bless and like help people, and that's where they're focused. I've seen that so many times, and again, only 10 days. I know it's not just me and a handful of crazy guys like Mike and Jeremy and all kind. And my apologies, I could rattle off 50 leaders right now. That it's not just a handful of crazy guys doing something. We've proven the model works. Now, again, this is only one strategy, but this is a really, really good base strategy to start big momentum down a leg and then move from there. So I hope the base strategy makes sense. What it is, focus on one leg. If you have enough influence and you can support putting enough people to drive momentum down 2 legs, go ahead and open two lines right from the start, 2 lanes, 2 lines. And then now I want you, well, let me finish that. So you open lines, you develop leaders, or they just naturally come in. We've seen it. It's amazing. I mean, I have industry legends all over the sprinkled all throughout the team, and I have no idea how they got there. And they didn't even come from people I brought in. They were just put somewhere down me by somebody else, like up above. And again, I can't promise wherever you're at that this is going to happen. But the less lines, the more laser focus in a singular line, the more those results stack on each other and amplify instead of dilute, as if we were, trying to do this across 5 or 10 legs across. Now we're diluting our energy to the width. And so when we all work together like that, you start these gigantic bonfires at the bottom, and it just ripples all the way up, and then rinse and repeat. And so now let's zoom back out. What I want you to imagine is, so what we just looked at was, remember, just this string right there. Well, then you come in, you open up number 2, you open up number 3, and maybe it's probably not that sure. This isn't the best graphic. This is a better example over here. And so again, this isn't the exact perfect strategy. It is a strategy we've mathematically and human psychologically proven it absolutely works. And this is covered in another video. While we're doing this, we're blessing financially every single person in this line is seeing action and results, not just someone below them that they need to balance and they need to have all these requirements. They can come in and just sit there with their arms crossed like this guy did and start to see some results and realize this is really interesting what's happening here. And so I can't promise, I'm just introducing one strategy, and not every leader is following this, but this is a conversation. I've literally had well over 100 of this conversation with many, many different people, but deeply hashing this out with the the mathematics behind the comp plan with fellow math and comp plan nerds and other visionary geniuses that, I'll tell you what the heart is behind this. And I get emotional around this. The heart behind this is a bunch of leaders who are frustrated building these big teams and building long-term things. And like that old 5% succeed. I never liked that. And it always drove me crazy. And my whole 14 and a half career so far, I've said this thousands of times. I don't believe in that. I know the math typically fits those numbers that, couple percent, 2-3%, 5%, stick around, 95% will be gone one day, all that stuff. I've never bought into that. And what we've proven here is that, and there's no monthly recurring, and it's just incredible what's happening. But the heart behind this was, I think it was said really well on a webinar last night. Mike was like, this is about helping other people have a win that have just been, some who, I have friends in this thing that have been struggling for the 12 years I've known them or more in this industry. And they've never been so excited, and they've never seen the kind of results they're getting. And, I'm really being, humble's not the word, but very cautious around income claims right now. And I believe documentation does beat conversation. And maybe we'll add on to this video, some of the results we've seen. I'm not going to speak to that right now, but I will say the kind of numbers being represented or like already generated are so significant that, guys, there are people in this that have done $1 million in a day as internet marketers, Mike and all kinds of things that are seeing the biggest momentum and the most just special, amazing, inspiring thing in their entire life. And that heart behind this, to really have something to help people win. We may not, not everybody's going to get rich. That's not at all what this is about. But it is about doing something that's not hurting people, not asking them to mortgage a house to come in, to start with something that, if you were to lose this immediately, what are you comfortable with? We're not pushing people to come in and do anything crazy. And then we're working together, and it's just the most amazing energy and teamwork. And I've heard it time and time and time again, the heart and the community and the teamwork behind what's happening here. There is a spirit and something special here I've never seen in my life. And I'm not the only one sharing that. My 14 and a half year career, building teams of over 100,000, I'm not some legend. I am a normal guy. I just work really hard. there are people far more experienced and wise. They're seeing what I'm seeing and they have the excitement I have. And that's what's driving this. And so again, Icicle Light building strategy, Icicle Light team build. And we're focusing on one at a time, driving single lines deep, stacking leaders below leaders. And now the leaders are helping each other build down. And when you get enough fire and momentum building, then you can open other legs and things like that. Now, we'll talk in other videos about, well, how many legs? Nobody so far before 12-12, nobody believes you should open more than 2 legs. Now, I think some people might try to prove that wrong and they could. A big enough influencer may say 3 or 4 is enough. I know a significant number of people that have tried to do versions of this with 5 legs and other things like that. The math does not work out. And I will mathematically prove why that water's down. Even just the 5, get 5, get 5. That's 5, 25, 125 legs to support. Right there, I just broke it in 3 generations deep. So the less legs, the more laser-like focus. It's like you're trying to burn a hole in a piece of paper with a magnifying glass. If I keep the focus going like this across 5 legs or 100 legs, the paper never catches fire. But if I laser focus and then I stack that magnifying glass and we have other leaders with a whole bunch of magnifying glasses, and now we have all these magnifying glasses laser focus, it'll like go right through me and the laser kills me because there's so many leaders hyper focused in one spot. So that's some of the heart and behind this. And this is just a real rough video. It's like I shared here. I'm calling this version 1.0. I would love, I wanted to do this video and get some of the other experts like Mike and Jeremy on here too. And we will do that, but we're moving 1,000 miles an hour and there's special things happening. So there will be time for that. I wanted to get this base strategy out. And so hope this is really helpful. I hope you're starting to see what's happening and see the light, so to say. And I'm going to briefly add this so you can leave if you'd like. I'm going to add on because a lot of people ask, well, how are people, this doesn't make any sense. Why would people get anything from this and stacking them? I'm just going to give you, this is going to be a very fast example because we're going to do this elsewhere, but I want you to pretend these circles I'm about to draw, these orange ones, let's say they represent a 6-6 coming in. Okay. They all should be the same size. It is what it is. So here's what I want you to think about because we only need 3 to demonstrate this. Now I'm going to go very fast. This is broken down in details in another video here. If this person's a 6-6, right now nothing's happened. The next person comes in, let's just say, for argument's sake, they're a 6-6. The X3 jumps to this person, and their X4 payment jumps above. Okay? So this person just got 6 back, and they came in 6-6. They already have half of it back. Now, when the third person comes in, and I want to draw arrows here. So, the first 6 comes here. The second 6 goes up above. Now, when the third person comes in, their first 6 goes here, and their second 6 comes here. So just 3 6-6s in a row, 2 more like you in a single line. This first orange 6-6 now has back what they came to the table with. And they could walk. That's profits. And there are situations that will trigger them to get other profits. This isn't the video for that. I'll break all this down and show you exactly the math and how this works of what I'm demonstrating. But I wanted to just briefly say that while I have you here. And they could also choose to take those profits and turn that into, then go to a 7-6. And if they did that, then the level 7 payment then goes to the next person. It'll hunt up line until it finds the next 7. So realize there's this cascading ripple impact going up. And people could pull it, they could upgrade, and it's amazing what's happening. So I wanted to paint that out real quick. And my apologies, I just realized you didn't see the screen. So person number 1 up above here, right here, this person number 1 right here. Person number 2 is right here. Their first payment comes up here. Their second, their X4 6 comes up here to the person above. Then you have the third person come in. Their X3 matrix comes here. Their X4 matrix payment comes here. This person now has received 1 6 payment and 2 level 6 payments. They came with 6 6. Now they could either upgrade to 7 6. They could take the profits out, which now they're break even already with just 2 people below them if they chose to pull the profits. Most people upgrade, but they can do anything they want. This isn't, we're not forcing people to. A lot of people want to upgrade because they realize there's probably gonna be some 7s flowing up and they want to try to catch it. And they catch one and then they can go 7 7. So it keeps rippling, these gigantic lines of ripples flowing upwards. It's absolutely just amazing. So that is what we're calling the Icicle Light team build strategy. Icicle Light team building strategy version 1.0. So signing out, hope this helps. This should generate a lot, this should clear up a lot of the confusion we've been getting. And we'll look forward to seeing you. We have a boatload of more of the tech and the innovation that's driving arguably one of the biggest things that's ever happened in our industry. So buckle up, let's go for it. And I'm really grateful to be on this journey with you, my friends, on behalf of every person behind the scenes, in front of, and everybody else. Love and gratitude to every single one of you. We'll see you on the inside. Well, maybe not. That's the strategy.